Okay, so good morning, Year 8. I hope you're all well. This is the last home learning video until we're all back in person. So a big well done for getting through it. This is your third history lesson, and similarly to last video, I just wanted to start with the 5 successful steps to home learning. Number 1, find somewhere quiet to watch this video. Number 2, sit at a table or a desk. Number 3, turn off all distractions around you. Number 4, have a pen and either your old history book or some lined paper to hand. And number 5, remember you can always rewind and pause this video at any time. So our third lesson looks at this question: how did Mansa Musa's Hajj help make Timbuktu a jewel? So pause the video now and write down the title and the date. So first we need to understand what the title is actually asking us. A Hajj, I should say, some of you will know from your RE lessons, is a pilgrimage, which we know from last year's history lessons is a religious journey. So can you remember who Mansa Musa is? Mansa Musa is this man right at the top here who we talked about, this man here, who we talked about in the first lesson, part of the Catalan Atlas. He is just down here. So, Mansa Musa was the emperor of Mali. Therefore, today's question is asking us, how did Emperor Musa or Mansa Musa's pilgrimage help make the city of Timbuktu a jewel? How did his pilgrimage help make Timbuktu rich, basically? So the richest man in the world in 2019 was Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, with an estimated fortune of £99 billion. However, historians estimate that Mansa Musa had a fortune of £400 billion, making him the wealthiest man ever to live. He was the richest person ever. Who was he though? Mansa Musa of Mali. He ruled between 1312 and 1337. Was one of the most significant of the Mali kings, who expanded Mali's influence over the large Niger city-states of Timbuktu, Gao, and Djinn. Mansa Musa was a devout Muslim who built magnificent mosques across Mali. In 1324, he made the Hajj, a pilgrimage, to Mecca, which is very important to Muslims. This was the first time that a West African king had travelled outside of his area. So he travelled from here, where his empire was, all the way up to Cairo, the other side of Africa, and down into Mecca, a place of historic importance for Muslims across the world. Travelled all of this way, thousands of miles. On his Hajj, Mansa Musa took with him 60,000 people and 80 camels carrying more than 2 tons of gold to be distributed among the poor. Of the 12,000 servants, 500 carried a staff of pure gold. So 500 servants carried a staff of pure gold. It has been said that the gold markets of Egypt were ruined for years after his visit. This was because he brought so much gold with him that the gold in Egypt was no longer seen as rare and expensive. It was normal. So many people had it. Whilst in Cairo, Mansa Musa met the Sultan and was generous. He gave out so much gold that the price of gold dropped in Egypt. Some historians suggest this might have actually been on purpose to get the traders to trade gold with Mali instead. So our first task today are these 3 questions. Question number 1. What dangers might Mansa Musa have faced on a journey to Mecca? So we know he is the richest man in the world. What dangers do you think he would face if he left his own territory here? He left the protection of his own territory and travelled across the unknown land to Cairo. Question 2. Why might Mali and the Mameluke Sultanate, who was basically the person in charge of Egypt, have been rivals? Why would they be rivals? Think about how much gold Mansa Musa gave out. I would like you just to pause the video there and answer those first 2 questions on your paper. Give yourself 3 minutes. Go. Our third question relates to source B, here, source B, which says, one such traveller was Mansa Musa, the Sultan of Mali in West Africa. Mansa Musa had prepared carefully for the long journey he and his attendants would take. He was determined to travel not only for his own religious fulfillment, but also for recruiting teachers and leaders, so that his realm, his kingdom, could learn more about the Prophet's teaching. And we know that the Prophet they're talking about is the Prophet Muhammad, because he's Muslim. So question 3. What reason does the source suggest about why Mansa Musa went on his Hajj, his pilgrimage? Was it just for his own religious reasons? Give yourself another 2 minutes and just have a go at answering that question in your book. Pause the video now. What I next want to do is read the work of the Arab historian called Al-Umari. I will read source C, and then next I would like you to read source D. So source C is an account of what Mansa Musa's court was like by this Arab historian Al-Umari, who was there at the time. It says, the Sultan, Mansa Musa, holds court in his palace on a great balcony where he has a great seat of ebony that is like a throne fit for a large and tall person. So ebony is a precious wood, a precious black wood found in Africa. On either side are elephant tusks turned towards each other, so these big tusks towering over his throne. He has all the weapons with him, his sword, his javelin, his bow and arrows, and all are made of pure gold. Mansa Musa wears wide trousers made of about 20 pieces of material of a kind which he alone can wear. Only he can wear this material. A soldier who impresses the king with his actions is given a pair of wide trousers. The best soldiers can be recognized by the size of their trousers. Having read that, I would like you to just pause the video now and have a read of source D yourself. Go. So thinking back to those sources, I just want to look at these 2 questions. In your exercise book, make a list of all the ways in which Mansa Musa showed how rich he was, both in Mali and on his journey. For example, I am going to put that 500 of his staff carried 500 servants carried staffs of pure gold. I'm going to use this bit here. That shows how rich he was. Pause the video now and write another 5 things in your exercise book. Next, what do the sources suggest about him as a leader? What do these sources, these 2 sources here, suggest about him as a leader? Was he a nice man, a cruel man, a wise man, or an ignorant man? Why do you think this? What evidence can you use? Pause the video and answer this in your exercise book. I would like you to maybe use a quote from one of the sources. And remember, rewind at any time. Pause the video now. So upon returning from his Hajj, Mansa Musa received news that his general had conquered Gao from the rival kingdom to the east of Mali, which brought Timbuktu under the rule of Mansa Musa. Rather than return to his capital in Niani, he visited Timbuktu and had loved the intellectual debate and scholars all working together. So he chose Timbuktu to become one of the major culture centers of the world. Timbuktu, as you can see, is just here, and this was his old capital, Niani, which sits on a gold field. Your next task is to read through this information below from Casely Hayford's description of Mansa Musa's impact on Timbuktu. So there's one paragraph here, second paragraph here, third paragraph here. On one side, I would like you to draw a picture of that paragraph, and on the other side, write down, summarize this paragraph into 2 bullet points. For example, I will do the first paragraph with you. Mansa Musa engaged his seer-like architect. Seer-like basically means someone who looks towards the future, and the architect is someone who plans a building. Abu Ishaq al-Sakhili, to construct a spectacular madagu or palace and a great mosque for his new Timbuktu. So he wants someone to create a palace and a mosque for him. According to the Berber historian, the builder was paid 12,000 miktals in gold, which is the equivalent today of £1.5 million. And in return, the architect gave Timbuktu one of the finest mosques ever created, as you can see here. So what I would do is I would maybe draw a picture to the left of a mosque and a palace. And in 2 bullet points on this side, I would write, Mansa Musa planned a palace and mosque in Timbuktu. Mansa Musa paid the architect £1.5 million to do this. That's to summarize this paragraph. I would like you to do the same for these 2 paragraphs here. So you need 1 picture here, 2 bullet points, 1 picture here, 2 bullet points. Give yourself 6 minutes to do that now. Pause the video. Your final task today is to log into the BBC and read an article, and this is the link here, which I will post onto Teams. The link takes you to a BBC article, okay? And the article is called, Is Mansa Musa the richest man who ever lived? I want you to know more about Mansa Musa. Because did you know that the richest person ever in the history of the world was an African man from Mali? Have a read through this article and tell someone at home 5 things about Mansa Musa to educate them on what you've learned today. So this is his Hajj. This is an image of his Hajj. So 60,000 men and 12,000 slaves. And here is the top 10 richest men of all time, and Mansa Musa. Wealth indescribable. He has got so much wealth that they can't even describe it. When you have done that, when you have finished that, the video is finished, beg your pardon, but there is still a quiz to be completed, so I can check how you're finding your work. So please go on to Teams now and complete the quiz, and with that, you are done for today. I will see you very, very soon. Looking forward to it. Stay safe, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you very much, Mr. Tuton.